Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Better Physique Podcast. Today I'll talk about communication. You know that's important because sometimes you have to where you want to. You need to interact with others, and for others, you look around sometimes it seems it's a very smooth, clear and pleasurable process, and for some of us sometimes it's hard, it doesn't go smooth. It seems that you speak a different language to that person which is in front of you. You want to have a better relationship, or you have to. And it seems to you that you both try, but the results doesn't show that, or are not the same as they used to be before. It seems to you like before the relationship was so good, we could understand each other like in a fraction of a second, and now we have these fights. Like I can't understand why they're saying these things to me, or why that person doesn't understand me, doesn't listen to me. Again, you don't have to understand their whole world if you want to go for, but you don't have to. Communication is based very often on specific questions, tools that guides you and help you, give you the right direction so you understand better the person that's in front of you. We don't do that quite often because we unfortunately assume things. We assume that we know the person in front of us. We think that we know what they want. We think that we know what they can. And we think that we know what they can't. And the same thing very often we do about ourselves. We set for ourselves these beliefs, these limits, thinking that we know what we can, we know what you can't, and I know what I want, and I know what I don't want. True, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 5, maybe 10 years ago, but not now. You change, or I hope you change. So if that happens, so those things or those answers of these questions would change as well. So me as a coach, imagine that a person comes to me and say, I would like to have a training 4 times a week. So can you make me prepare for me a training for 4 times a week, an hour each session? And I would assume that they want to get more flexible, stronger, they want to lose some weight, they want to get better shape, they want to be more disciplined, and all these things, because like, hey, four times a week, that's something. But actually what they want is something different. They want to be relaxed, they just want to improve their discipline, that's it. And they're just flexible, they don't want to become stronger, they don't want to improve their posture, not now. In times we will discover new things, and they might want that later, but not now. So imagine that I would assume this information about my client instead of asking. So what are those questions that would help you to have a better, easier, and more important, a clearer relationship? To ask what they want, what they don't want, what they can and what they can't. I would come up with some examples, and then we'll try to understand each of them. Again, look at the difference between what they can. So you think that if they want to lose 20 pounds in this month, if they want that, for sure they can train every day. For sure they would have an hour every morning or every afternoon, wherever they want. They will find 1 hour a day for a training. But actually that's not what they can't. So what they want and what they can, it's not coherent. It's different, it's separated. So you want to put it together so it makes sense for you and for your client as well. So the straightforward questions, that doesn't mean that you have to go and say, hey, what do you want? You don't want to do that. But to understand what they want. So you want to find the right moment, to find the right approach. You maybe want to say, if that's your colleague, say, hey, let's grab a coffee together. Hey, how things are going? Is everything good? How do you feel? And find that right moment and say, if it would be possible like this in a second, what would you like? What do you want? And the person would tell you, hey, I would like that we are more friendly to each other. I would like that we're not so competitive, that we live in a good environment and more soft, more friendly environment. So because that colleague or that friend asks you too often, hey, how was your weekend? Or how was your last night? What have you done a couple of days ago? What are your plans for tonight? That person maybe just wants to know, how do you feel? Is everything right in your life? But what do you think that person wants is to mind your business. So that's why you want to find the right moment to stop and say, and what do you want? Try to figure out, but to make this question straightforward. What do you want? And if that's a relationship, then it's even more often than you want to ask this question. From day to day, sometimes from week to week. Hey, what would you like? What do you want? So you know the person better, and at least you know what the person wants in this moment. And it's not what you assume. You'll be surprised how often what they want and what you think they want, it's very, very different. At the same time, you want to understand and ask sometimes what they don't want. It's a bit harder to understand what the people or yourself you don't want. It's hard to think about negative things or from don'ts. But that would be the reflection of what they want actually. Because if you ask your client, if I ask my client to, look, would be better that you have your training sessions in the morning. And they would say, but I don't want to wake up so early. Means they want to sleep in because they want in the evening spend some time with their family. And then you want to understand why is that so important for them. Is that too much or too little? Or you want them to understand themselves better. And that will give you a tool, an instrument that will help you to have a better relationship, a better communication with whoever you are talking to. So by asking what they don't want is a reflection of what they actually want. Let's move forward and understand what a person can. And you want to ask that. Because sometimes people would have some expectations from your relationship, from the relationship with you. So what they want is actually not the same with what they can do. So if you need support, if you want to, maybe you want to take a course, you want to specialize yourself in something, and if you don't ask your partner because you assume that your partner should support you, of course it's my partner, they should love and support me, but you want to ask, can you be more patient with me in these next 3 or 4 or 6 months because I want to take some extra hours for work, or I want to work on something for myself. You want to ask the person in front of you, what do they can? Can you do this? Can you do this for me? Can you add more time? Can you take some time? Can you sacrifice this? Can you make it happen or not? Because you might think that the person have the possibility to do that because what you know is just a little. You think that that person doesn't have too many things to do in the evening, so of course they can help you in the evenings with whatever you need help for. But you don't know enough. So that's why you have to ask straightforward. You want to create that moment. You want to find the right approach and ask, what do they can? If I don't ask my clients what do they can, and I would take in consideration only what they want, then I would come up with answers that, hey, you have to do this, 3, 4, XYZ, and the list will be long. And they say, I can't do that. But it's like, hey, of course you can do this, then you have to cancel what you want. No, you want to find the right tool, you want to find the right instruments, you want to help them to understand better why do they want what they want and what that requires. And you want to help them to figure out to manage their resources so they will come up with the enough answers at the question what they can. And at the same thing, what they can't. Because what you expect, or even worse, what we assume that people can't do, how many times we in time discover that, hey, I could have go to that person and talk to, I could have go to my manager and explain my problem, I could have go to my coach and say, listen, I feel exhausted, I feel tired after the sessions, it's too much for me, I can't do that because I have to work a day after that, so I can't do this. And I would come with a plan that would save that situations. And instead of thinking that you have to solve everything by yourself and nobody can't understand what you can, what you want, it's better to go and find that right moment to create it if you have to, and to ask them, why can't you do this for me? Because it seems to me, or I think you can't. Or to say that, hey, I can't do this anymore, I can't see you anymore, this relationship must be done, I can't go forward, I can't move on if you still do this, that to me, because I still need to improve myself to know how to manage these situations, but at the moment I can't. What you want, what you don't want, what you can and what you can't. These 4 straightforward questions will make your relationship so much better, and your communication would be more clear. It will be just clear, because people change in time, their habits change, their resources change, you change, everything is changing. So you want to know the answers for these questions. I think is a great frame, are great tools that you can use so you can improve your communication to have a better future and a better physique. See you later. Bye bye.